What's up, guys? It's Jay, MorninAfterKill, and I'm back here on Destiny. And tomorrow is Tuesday, which means that all of our weekly activities will once again be reset Destiny. But if you haven't been playing Destiny since launch, you'll remember that Tuesdays also used to be home of the weekly Bungie update, and it seems that after a few months of gathering data, Bungie still isn't happy with the weapon balance in the game, and tomorrow they're planning on fine-tuning a few more weapon groups. And the best thing about this is that more good is coming out of this than bad. So before you start ripping out your hair screaming, "Oh my god, Bungie's nerfing all the things, the sky is falling," let's go over exactly what Bungie has in store for us tomorrow. So first up on the list is the automatic assault rifles. Now, according to Bungie, if you look at the last 30 days of Destiny playtime, auto rifles make up 6 out of the top 10 weapons used in Destiny. And that is not including the Suros regime. In fact, a whopping 19% of the game's players are using auto rifles in PvE and PvP, which doesn't sound like much, but when you compare it to the other primaries in the Crucible, the next highest weapon group are hand cannons, being used by 7% of users in the Crucible. Now, that's funny, because if you start looking at all the graphs that Bungie has released, you start adding up all these percentages, you're gonna be like, where the fuck are all the rest of the weapons? It doesn't add up. Well, that's actually because Bungie didn't show that probably about 40 to 50% of people in the Crucible are using fusion rifles. That's just frustrating. But we'll get to that in just a second. So, auto rifles are having their base damage lowered by 2.5%, which is not spread out over the entire group. The 2.5% is actually an average of all the damage reduction that will be done. So groups with higher fire rates and lower impact, like Atheon's Epilogue, will be having less of a damage reduction than, say, a heavy impact weapon like the new Monarchy Vanquisher. So while the Vanquisher might get like a 3.5 damage reduction, the Epilogue on the other end would receive a 1.5 damage reduction to kind of even things out. So they're also shortening the drop-off range for damage, making them less effective at longer range. However, if you have a higher range stat on your auto rifle, it'll be less affected by this nerf, since they're trying to make the range stats a bit more critical when you're choosing your perks on the weapon card. So even though this seems like a very small adjustment, it could have huge ramifications if you're the type of player that likes to sit back with an auto rifle and play from long to medium range. But close up, you shouldn't notice much of a difference, if anything at all. So next up on deck, we have pulse rifles. Without getting too technical into the game, we can safely say that 90% of pulse rifles are dog shit. In fact, looking at Bungie's stats, only 2% of users use pulse rifles in the Crucible and 6% in PvP, which leads me to believe that those 6% of people are Red Death users in Crota End, or Bad Juju and Obsidian Mind Warlock nuke factories, since, you know, kills with the Juju can fill up your super quite fast, and so can the Obsidian Mind, so it just seems like a pretty good marrying of weapons and gear. So, quite simply and easily, Bungie is bringing up the damage on these pulse rifles by almost 10%. Now, I don't want to be a naysayer or anything, but I still don't think that 10% is going to be enough. I have a feeling that we're going to be seeing pulse rifles receiving a buff sometime in the near future. But in my opinion, the way I would buff pulse rifles is that I would give it a little bit of an extra critical hit modifier, somewhere between, you know, an auto rifle and a hand cannon, which would make the pulse rifle stronger, but it would still need the player to require superior aiming to get the benefits of the weapon's buff. But for now, we're gonna see how that extra 10% damage works out for us. Like, far be it for me, Bungie, to you know, spit in the face of your 10%. I'll take it all motherfucking day, but I still don't think that it's gonna be enough. Now, here is something interesting. Bungie is not happy with how hand cannons are performing. I'm gonna say that again. Bungie is not happy with how hand cannons are performing. In fact, Bungie says that hand cannons seem to be performing a little bit too well. So they will not only be reducing the range and damage drop off, but they're also making consecutive shots with a hand cannon lose a bit of accuracy in between shots. Now, Bungie is trying to cultivate more of like a precision culture with hand cannons rather than reckless cowboying around ripping off accurate shots from half a mile away, which is actually kind of sad because that was the whole fun of hand cannons, is the whole space cowboy aspect of it all, where I come jumping over a whole big pipe, pow, 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 everybody's dead. But the good news is that the accuracy change should be unnoticeable at close to medium range, giving you more of an incentive to get up close and personal for these kills and to stop people from, you know, sitting back with a hand cannon that can two-shot you from across the map, which I kind of agree with. Nobody likes to see somebody get two-shot across the map, especially if they're using fusion rifles. Speaking of fusion rifles, this is the most interesting part of the entire update. Fusion rifles! I've already fucking said it! Now, while Bungie may think that fusion rifles take skill and are extremely satisfying to kill with, most people seem to have the consensus that they're annoying as fuck and too easy to get kills with. But Bungie seems to be very intent on actually not admitting that. So, Bungie maintains that fusion rifles are predominantly supposed to be a mid-range weapon, but I have a hard time figuring out why Bungie wants these effective at those ranges. It seems like something that should be useful against multiple people grouped up at close range, like say taking a control point, not a single target one-shot kill from 30 feet away. But nonetheless, Bungie is making the cone spread of the fusion bolts a little bit wider, reducing the amount of one-hit kills at far range. See, once again, far range. Now, I'm sorry, but I don't agree with this. If shotguns are going to be a two-shot kill up close, why the fuck do fusion rifles still get to one-shot people from medium range? In my opinion, that's the reason why you see so many fusion rifles in the Crucible, is because shotguns were made less effective, since shotguns seem like the only reliable counter to fusion rifles in close to medium range. But Bungie doesn't agree, so Bungie says fusion rifles are a medium range weapon. But Bungie is also limiting the amount of special ammo that you spawn with in the Crucible if you're using a fusion rifle or shotgun from here on out, making them less reliable as a primary source of damage. So hopefully that helps out just a little bit, but I still don't see people stopping using fusion rifles. I still think we're going to see tons of people running around with them Plan Cs one-shotting you from halfway across the map, which is fucking frustrating. And that brings us to shotguns, which I've already stated will have limited starting ammo in the Crucible. But we'll once again be getting a damage range nerf in the Crucible to stop players from one-hit killing from medium range, yada yada yada. That's not the really important part of the shotgun update. A few people might say so, but I disagree. The most important part of the update is that PvE shotguns will be getting a 100% damage upgrade. Hot damn! Yes, you heard that right. A 100% damage upgrade. They are doubling the effectiveness of shotguns in PvE. And Bungie said that they are saddened by the fact that no one uses shotguns in PvE, and they decided to double the amount of damage that these things can do, which is fantastic for people like me that already use a shotgun, and I find them pretty effective. In fact, damage isn't the reason that no one's using shotguns in PvE. It's because most people, honestly, at this point, are doing weekly, nightfalls, and raids. And when you have elemental burn modifiers, light switch melee modifiers, and hard mode modifiers that limit the amount of close range fighting that you're gonna want to do, it's no wonder that no one wants to run up to that knight in Crota's hard mode with a sword breaker to try to take him out. Because that one swipe of that knight's sword and you're fucked. And you gotta wait till everybody either wipes in your party or you make it to the next part of the raid and you just gotta sit there and watch everybody else have fun. So honestly, I still don't see the average player strapping a shotgun on their back in Crota's end hard mode after this. But you know what? I will certainly take double damage on my shotgun for goddamn sure. So, my name is Jay, MorninAfterKill. I want to thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys rate, comment, subscribe. If you could leave a thumbs up on the video, I'd highly appreciate it because it gives me motivation to make more videos for you motherfuckers that watch my motherfucking videos. I just wanted to go ahead and outline some of the changes that you're going to be seeing to some of the weapons later on this week with Bungie's next update. So, if you guys go into the Crucible and you kind of find out, like, hey, why is my fusion rifle only one-shot killing 9 times out of 10 instead of 10 times out of 10? Now you know. And knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe, real American hero. So, like I said, my name's Jay. MorninAfterKill. Thanks for watching, and I'm gonna see you guys later.